Hello fellow Star Wars fans, it is Star Raptor here, and welcome back to the channel. It's time to review another episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars. This is the final episode of the first arc, and it's called Unfinished Business. It revolves around the Clone Troopers, and for the first time in Season 7, we get to see all-out war. Up until this point, it's been very much those little stealth missions with the Bad Batch and Anakin, and now things are coming to a boiling point, and it is up to Obi-Wan and Mace Windu and all the clone forces on Anaxis to shut down these Separatist operations. And we have really a two-pronged approach to this story. It's really neat because we get more of the Bad Batch. They are going to a Separatist cruiser alongside of Echo, who is now got really awesome looking armor, and it's up to him to hack into the Separatist terminal to pretty much confuse the Separatists who think that he's still on their side with the battle tactics, and through doing so is able to deliver a decisive blow and victory for the Republic. Meanwhile, on the surface, you have Obi-Wan, you have Mace Windu, you have Mace Windu's troops, which look really cool, by the way, and a bunch of jump jet troopers that look like they are pulled straight out of Battlefront 2, which is really neat, especially looking at Jesse. We get these characters fighting endless swarms of B1s and B2 battle droids. So we're seeing all that come to a very, very suspenseful ending when they're all shut down, sort of like in episode 1. So this episode was everything you would expect from a climax to a Star Wars film or anything, because we have all this going on. We have that first entry point with the Y-Wings, with all the ships going to that factory. And then we're seeing Anakin Skywalker really tap into the dark side as he goes out to confront General Trench to get those codes for Mace Windu to deactivate the bomb. So both of those storylines really depended on one another. But to see Anakin just go relentless against Trench and just straight up kill him, you know? The guy says, oh yeah, you know, Dooku says you won't do this. Well, guess what? I killed Dooku later on in my life. And he just straight up impales him. Man, that was really cool. So to see that we're getting really close to those events of Revenge of the Sith, we're already seeing Anakin on multiple levels throughout the Clone Wars, really doing some dark things. And this one is especially one of the darkest things that he did. Another thing I want to note is Mace's speech to the B1 battle droids. This really lended a sense of humor to the episode, and it really reminded me the way he was speaking very much of Grand Moff Gideon, or Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian, about his speech to all those guys at the end of the season there. But what I really did enjoy is the tension throughout this entire episode. The way that we don't know if Echo is really on their side or if he's not, and it's really hard to get a read on the situation. And again, I had not watched these unfinished Clone War episodes, you know, in like maybe 5 or 6 years, whenever they first came out. So I really just forgot about all of what happens in these episodes, which really added to that, again, that level of suspension tension, not knowing what is going to happen with him or the Bad Batch. But to see that ending, to see Captain Rex, after all he's been through to get Echo back, to just become comfortable with him doing what he wants. And to see that was like a happy ending after all this. I did not expect to have such a well tied up, a happy ending for me to experience it. I might have gotten choked up just a little bit for a second there, because it's like these guys have been through so much together. And to see that they hopefully are all going to survive, when we know Rex does. But I want to see what happens with the Bad Batch now. I know we were supposed to get an arc about them on Kashyyyk or something with Yoda. I'm hoping that by the end of the Siege of Mandalore or something, maybe they pop up. Maybe there's like a big epilogue. Hopefully that would be really nice to have a big epilogue at the end of that arc to see what it all does. But just talking about this arc in general, why this arc was meant to be first, why this arc is worth having in the final 12 episodes, if that's all they could do, is just, again, seen from that clone perspective, seen from Captain Rex. This is really his story arc, to see how he's reacting to his brother's loss, what he might act like in the future. Just an arc that I didn't expect to really come to appreciate, but every week I was really anticipating these episodes, and they delivered on every single episode of this first arc. I'm so ready to get into that next arc with Ahsoka's walkabout. It's going to be a much more personal story, I'm sure, but she's going to be in the underlevels of Coruscant, which I really cannot wait to see with this brand new animation style for the Clone Wars. And then, of course, after that, we have the Siege of Mandalore. So 4 episodes are down, which means we only have 8 left. So This series is flying by, and it is just such a fun way to experience this with all of you guys out there watching simultaneously, which is something I've never done before. I caught up on the Clone Wars a little bit later into its lifespan when they first put it on Netflix, when they were going to put on the unfinished, or not the unfinished arc, but season 6, I guess you can call it at this point. But anyway, I digress. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this episode, Unfinished Business of the Clone Wars. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? I think this might be my favorite episode of what's been released so far, but I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I talk about the Clone Wars every episode that is released. I review it, so if you liked my thoughts on this episode and want to keep up to date with all the other episode reviews and all the other things with Star Wars, like the High Republic and the video games, make sure you go ahead and support the channel. It's very easy. All you have to do is simply subscribe to the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. So everybody out there, stay safe. Things are kind of crazy, but it's awesome that we have Star Wars as a way to escape for at least 26 minutes at a time. That's going to do it for me, Star. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at StarRaptor.